What's going on, everyone? It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, joined by absolutely nobody, but that is a-okay. We're here to talk about a big game tonight in the Canadian Football League. Chazzy, the CEO, may be joining us in a bit, but, he's in some very important meetings. Make sure you update that Streakers app ASAP, by the way, as it is just a whole new world on the Streakers app. But make sure you're getting in there. But right now, we got to talk about a absolutely monster of a game. Two teams in bit of different situations right now. You got the BC Lions that are getting on a bit of a roll. Nathan Rourke starting to look comfortable in the pocket. He's playing some really strong football, and he's doing what he needs to do. Versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are coming off of an abysmal performance against Calgary last week. And you know what? Trevor Harris has got to put his money where his mouth is a little bit, right? He was going on about, well, the league this and the league that, and I didn't like that I had to have the game postponed, and nobody liked it. At the end of the day, Calgary still showed up, and you didn't. So this is a very, very big game for both of these teams. When we go and look, and I apologize, look at my phone here, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm just checking on some notes here. When we look at this is a big game for the standings as well, right? As you have both of these teams that are really fighting for playoff berth. You have Saskatchewan, who is now, they have a chance to take second in the West with Winnipeg's huge loss to the Calgary Stampeders. They did not show up very strong in that game. So, I mean, the standings are an interesting piece right now in the Canadian Football League. Which, I mean, this time of year, they usually are, right? So, when we take a look, and we know what I'll do just for you, because I am just a very nice person. Why don't we put these standings up on the screen? Working 18,000 screen here. But I mean, like I said, right? Like this is the time of year where things get more and more interesting, right? So it really is going to be a tough game for both squads, right? Because when we look at the standings going into tonight's game, which voila, they are on the screen. We're seeing the West, right? Calgary is really taking a strangle, is starting to pull away a little bit, right? And Saskatchewan is currently sitting in second, but they have a good chance to just pull a bit more further away from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and you know what, to keep pace with the Calgary Stampeders. It's something Calgary is currently 3-0 in their division, so it's going to be tough. Mind you, the BC Lions, they're really looking to pass the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for fourth in the playoff race, right? And, move up to third in the playoffs race, I should say. So this is a big game for both teams, right? You have two teams that are both really want this win. I would argue this game is almost more important for Saskatchewan than it is for BC. I mean, BC's on a bit of a heater where you have Saskatchewan who realistically they have not looked as good of late, in my opinion, when we start to look at their last few games, right? When we look at their last few games, this team is, truthfully, in my opinion, they've kind of struggled. Right? Because, obviously, yeah, they're 4-1, so they've only lost one game. But last time they played the Lions, it was a pretty easy game. But they almost lost the Toronto Argonauts on the 20th, losing 39-32. Basically, Toronto deciding, hey, we just won't put enough players on the field so you can get a big win. Then they lost to the Blue Bombers, almost lost to the Tiger Cats 28-23, and a tough game against the Red Blacks 31-26. So as much as the Rough Riders are 4-1, they've only really had one real dominant win, which was against the BC Lions, that 37-18 victory very early in the season. So this is a big game, right? Like you have Saskatchewan is going to be looking to build off, trying to get going. And you might say, what do you mean get going? They're 4-1. And I understand that they're 4-1. But I just don't think this team has truthfully looked as good as they'd like to. So when we take a look at some stats going into this one, and I really want to focus on both quarterbacks right now, right? Which is Trevor Harris versus Nathan Rourke. And Trevor Harris just looked good. You know what I mean? That 112.7 efficiency rating, as we talked about yesterday, the efficiency rating of a quarterback is the real stat that I'm looking for, right? It's a really, really important stat. I'm going to look at the interception percentage. At 2.3% of his throws are intercepted, towards the lower end in the Canadian Football League right now. The lowest is Bo Levi Mitchell with 0.5% of his passes being intercepted. But as much as Trevor Harris threw for over 400 yards last game, I thought he looked a little off, right? Like he was missing some timing throws. He didn't look comfortable in the pocket. Now he is going to get Emilus back into the lineup tonight, which certainly should help this receiving core. This guy is a wide receiver that can make big catches in big moments, right? So I do expect it's going to help. Versus now, let's look over to Nathan Rourke, who is currently sitting at a 108.4 efficiency, 107.7 efficiency rating. And you know what? He struggled a little bit to start the year, right? But he's been improving. He's been getting better. Just like, something else that's been improving? I know what's been improving. It's been the Streakers app. Thanks to Mr. Chazzy 7.1. I said, Chazzy, is another update coming after this incredible update? Is this what the 0.1 means?
Exactly. There's always updates coming here on the island.
Always updates. And we're going to have some big news coming up on this island as well, with maybe some music getting involved and maybe some esports and video games. So make sure you stay locked in with us. But Chazzy, I was just
grassroots excitement.
Oh man, nothing beats grassroots sports. I do gotta say. But Chazzy, I was just kind of breaking down the two quarterbacks, as it was a question I got sent in on the Streakers Island hotline about what team has the advantage at quarterback. Is it Trevor Harris or is it Nathan Rourke? And I don't know if you'd agree with me, Chazzy, but right now I think Nathan Rourke's a little better than Trevor Harris, at least of late.
For passing yards, yes.
Yeah, and like I felt Trevor Harris last game, he did throw for
he struggled off. Yeah. Was that the game that he had just shy of 30 yards? What rushing?
Yeah, like I mean, it's with Trevor Harris, he's definitely not a use your legs kind of quarterback, right? Like he is more of he's a high efficiency, very accurate. Like he's completing just under 76% of his passes, right? Like this is the guy that is very, very accurate down the field. One of the most accurate quarterbacks in football, CFL or NFL. But right now, I think Nathan Rourke's got the slight edge because he's got that mobility that Trevor Harris doesn't, right? And Dan's not here right now to go crying that Nathan Rourke's not any good and blah, 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 blah. But I think this is an interesting one. Like you have two...
But you give Rourke a chance against this hungry Saskatchewan defense coming off a loss?
Actually, you know what? That's an interesting perspective. And this is probably going to be Rourke's biggest test is tonight. Because when they played Saskatchewan earlier in the year, it was Saskatchewan's only real dominant win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like we were just kind of going over the Rough Riders wins. And that's their only dominant win of the year when they beat the Lions 37-18. The rest of them, okay, they're winning, but like, you know what? Like they beat Ottawa 31-26, Hamilton 28-23, Toronto 39-32, and then they lost to Calgary 24-10, which that game Calgary could have put up more points, but they just kind of stopped trying. So I'm arguing that this game's actually bigger for Saskatchewan tonight.
Oh, to bounce back, absolutely. And you see what has reeled off 2 in a row. Yeah. Mind you, mediocre. Mind you did beat the Owls. That's not bad.
But you beat the Owls without Davis Alexander, and let's be honest, we saw it this week against Toronto. Davis Alexander is a different beast. Now he could be injured we could be gone 2 top tier quarterbacks again if Alexander and Collaros both being out. Potentially now. I don't know if you saw that, Chazzy. Claros left the game early last night.
Oh, no, I did not see that. Okay.
Rumored concussion. So concussions are so tough, right? He could be back in a week, could be gone 6 weeks. But yeah, like I agree with, like I think BC, they've won 2 straight, but you're right. They beat Montreal without their starting quarterback, barely. And okay, then they blew the doors off Edmonton. But unfortunately, Edmonton has just not been a good team this year. It's unfortunate for the Elks, and I feel really bad for that fan base because they've just been so bad for, funny enough, ever since they changed their name. I'm not saying the name change is the reason why they're bad, because like that doesn't, in theory, shouldn't affect the football play. But
now, are you anticipating a high-scoring game here? Just with Harris coming off a 400-yard game?
I think this could be a bit more of a low-scoring game. I think the Lions defense played their best game of the year last week against the Elks. And again, that is against Edmonton's offense, but still. And Saskatchewan, the way they just got, Calgary just did whatever the heck they wanted last week against them. I think this game may be more, let's run the ball, because you're having James Butler coming off a career game and AJ Ouellette coming off of the worst game he's had as a rider. So I think both teams are going to want to run the ball aggressively. I think this could be more of a time of possession match than a gunslinging. Now, maybe Nathan Rourke will just say, hold my beverage, and just start bombing it out there. I think you'll see him more try to stretch the field than Trevor Harris. Because Trevor Harris, his whole career, whether he was in the CFL or the NFL, because he did play in the NFL for 3 or 4 years, he's more of a nickel and dime, let's get down the field, put together a drive quarterback, where Nathan Rourke likes to go down the field in 5 plays.
So hypothetically, BC comes out here tonight. It seems to be a statement game here.
Mm-hmm.
You're 4-3, going 4-2 if you do beat the Rough Riders. Where do you put BC if they are able to pull this one off?
Well, the crazy thing is, Chaz, I was showing the viewers before, but I'll bring it on again. If BC wins right now, Winnipeg drops down to 4th.
That's going to be my next question for you, because we haven't spoken about, now that they've lost, where do you see Winnipeg, and now with their show pony down for a few weeks, it sounds like.
So right now, and these were I'll bring them up, my power rankings going into this week, which Dan's all like, well, these don't matter anymore. I'm like, well, screw you, Dan. Anyways, this is a Photoshop file of it here. But right now, you could see Winnipeg dropping as low as 6.
Wow.
And I'm putting BC, if you beat Saskatchewan, I may be putting BC as high as 3.
If they pull off tonight.
And let's say Ottawa finds a way to beat Hamilton, this could be a very different list by this time next week.
I see you have your Argos keep dropping here.
Honestly, right now, going into after this one, the Argos might even drop down to 8 if Ottawa beats Hamilton.
Okay, so now I see with Calgary at number 1, what impressed you the most last night?
What impressed me the most of Calgary is just they did whatever the heck they wanted. And these are my rankings going into this week. And Calgary, for me, they're not moving. Like, Calgary is the best team in the CFL right now, and it's not even a conversation. Anything they want to do, they can do. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. They create turnovers. They get good kick returns. Everything that they're doing, they're just doing well and at a high level. Now, eventually, that's going to slow down. I'm not thinking Calgary's going to win every game for the rest of the year. But right now, Calgary's the team to beat, not even just in the West, but I think in the whole league. Because
Now you got Saskatchewan ahead of Hamilton because they haven't played this weekend?
Yeah, basically, like, for me, it's going to depend. If Saskatchewan wins this week and you beat BC after a 2-game winning streak, I may move Saskatchewan back ahead of Hamilton going into next week. Just because Hamilton, they're playing Ottawa. They barely beat Ottawa last week. I actually think Ottawa will get the W this week against Hamilton. That's my 2 cents.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do. I think Ottawa. I have a very weird opinion. Out of the 3 bottom feeders, which is Toronto, Ottawa, and Edmonton, Ottawa and Toronto, I don't think are as bad as their records. I hate to say it. I think Edmonton is as bad as their record. Edmonton just is not good. They can't defend. They can't score. It's just not a good team. Like Toronto and Ottawa, you're both seeing glimpses of what this team can do. Edmonton, we haven't even really seen. We haven't seen much, right? Like I haven't seen
your Argos too. You're 1-5, 1-6.
Yes, but okay, but the Argos they almost
big lead.
But the different, okay, they blew a big lead, but in that first half, I saw more. I haven't seen Edmonton play a half the way Toronto dominated that half. That's more what I mean for Ottawa and Toronto. They're still some of the worst teams in the entire league. Thanks, Dan Gray. Appreciate it.
There he is.
You know, he's a Ticats fan, but he does live currently be out towards Edmonton and Saskatchewan. So, I mean, hopefully, Dan, you're more with Rider Nation right now out there than Elk Nation. Elks, Felks, I don't know. Because the Elks are not. But no, what I just mean, though, with Toronto and Ottawa versus Edmonton, I'm okay. I am not biased. Dan, you missed my huge rant after the Argos lost. Like, honestly, I don't think the Argos are going to make the playoffs this year. I don't. But I haven't completely given up hope just because I think you got to believe. Elk Nation doesn't have a good. I agree. So what do you guys call yourselves? What's the Elk? Like, I know it's Rider Nation. And
wasn't Mr. Gray saying that they're trying to bring the old name back? Was there speculation?
Well, they brought back the old branding, right? Which is just the
branding. Oh, okay.
There's been rumors about going back to the Eskimo name branding. And because if you actually look into it, it was the sponsors that were upset with the Eskimo name, not the Eskimo people themselves. Mr. More for Your Money from Union Station. Go Jays, go.
Go.
Yeah, he was at the Toronto Blue Jay game today. And if you head over to Streakers Gaming social media, there's lots of great content there from said game. The Jays did get a big 6-3 win today. Yes, I know I'm a season ticket holder.
For what, a couple decades now, no?
Oh, between the family.
The family for how long?
Oh, years. And like my mom's first Argo game was like over 30 years ago. Like, I mean, we've been going to football games for forever. But all I mean from that is, though, like when you watch the Elks, I'm not seeing much glimmer of hope. I think Ottawa, I'm you know what, fine then, Mr. Dan Gray, Mr. I'm a season ticket holder. I think the Ottawa Red Blacks can still turn this season around. I've seen good things from the Ottawa Red Blacks. I have not seen look at the BC Lions, for example. They started this year 1-3, but you saw some good things from them. You know, they had some drives, they had some moments. Now all of a sudden they're 3-3, right? That season, look at Hamilton, started 0-2. But you saw some good things. Hamilton started the year, but it's like, okay, they lost to Saskatchewan their first game of the year. Kind of expected, right? So
could you say that about Edmonton, just the way the front office sort of handled things before the season even started?
Honestly, I do wonder if players still are upset about the no superstars in this league comment in Edmonton. And in Trey Ford's defense, it's not like he's got a, great, they're the herd apparently. Oh, it's all the Elk herd. That makes sense. No, that makes sense.
The herd?
The herd. Not Amber Heard. They're not. Well, they are kind of Amber Herding the bed right now.
What are we referring the herd to?
The Elks.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. I like it.
But I'm curious, though, and people in the comments, especially Dan Gray, if you can let us know how Rider Nation's feeling right now, because I know you're in that area. Yeah, they're 4-1, but this is you really don't want to drop to 4-2 and let the Lions go to 4-3.
Especially the Stampeders, or how well the Stampeders are playing.
Well, that's the thing. Saskatchewan's going to have a hard time catching the Stampeders.
And Winnipeg's going the other way, it seems. So,
well, like we said it in our post-game show yesterday, that we feel there's a changing in the guard in the CFL, that Toronto and Winnipeg for the last 3 years, Winnipeg for the last 5, Toronto for the last 3, have been the standard in the CFL. And now we're seeing a change where it might be the Stamps and the Tiger Cats. But I think Saskatchewan also wants to be in that conversation. And for them to be in that conversation, I think they need to beat a team like the Lions today.
Okay, so let's so your analogy there, these two teams have played in the finals the last 3 years. Is it due to the amount of games the team has played, or is this just turning over the leaf, and let's use Leaf terminology, a new DNA that hasn't sort of meshed right now on both clubs?
I think for Winnipeg, it's age. I think this team is just getting old. I think for Toronto, you lost a lot of pieces. Add Chad Kelly's injury, add Winton McManus's knee injury. It's just not what you're looking for. And Rider Nation isn't afraid of anyone, including, all right.
Including the Stamps.
Wow. I mean, I do feel the Riders are a team that they are good enough to beat any team. I'm not denying that. But, the West is so tight this year. I don't think any team also wants to be a crossover either. Lots of green and white.
Now, that crossover will affect probably Toronto this year more than the West is what we're seeing?
Usually, it's not very often where you get an Eastern team crossing over. It's pretty much always the West. Oh, you got that bop.
Oh, really? It's
yes.
always the West crossing over. Okay.
Yes. The West has been statistically better than the East over the last, as long as I can pretty much remember.
What is that? Is just do you find different difficulty of travel schedules maybe, or?
I don't know. The West is usually, the thing is though, you got to look at it. Calgary had made the playoffs besides of last year, I want to say 18 years straight. It was the first in over 20 years either Edmonton or Calgary hadn't made the playoffs. Saskatchewan has been consistently good. Okay, maybe they haven't won a Grey Cup since 2013, but they've been a consistently good team. Funny enough, Winnipeg 6 years ago was terrible. Right? Toronto a couple years ago were terrible.
But they turned that around when Mike O'Shea came, no? Winnipeg?
O'Shea's first year as a head coach was bad. Yeah, usually better teams in the West for 20 years. Ottawa, Hamilton, Montreal out of the East. Yeah, funny enough, though, the East, we've seen plenty of times where a team from the Eastern Conference who's under 500 goes on and wins the Grey Cup.
Sorry, this is abnormal for Toronto in the last 5 years? They're usually not making the playoffs?
No, Toronto, it was kind of between these last 3 years and when they won the Grey Cup 7 years ago. Those 2 years were really bad. They could basically only beat Ottawa, and that was it. They were a bad team. And then Michael Pinball Clemens became the GM. They brought in Ryan Dinwiddie as the head coach. They found McLeod Bethel-Thompson as their quarterback. And then they kind of started to build from there, made the playoffs, and then won a couple Grey Cups. Winnipeg can't
O'Shea.
I believe Morfor is just saying, I don't know. I think he had too many soda pops at the
trivia. We're doing trivia now.
But yeah, I think what he's saying is O'Shea was the turnaround in Winnipeg, but the first year wasn't that good. But it's interesting, though, Dan Gray is talking about how Rider Nation's not nervous of anyone. How does Rider Nation feel if, let's say, hypothetically, the Lions do win tonight? Then how is Rider Nation feeling losing 2 straight?
What is a deja vu? Because I think you said a couple weeks ago, they seem to tail off midway through or a quarter of the way. They seem to can't keep that.
It's been an issue with them. And no, Dan, no one is saying they're going to fire. Okay, Lane might want to fire O'Shea. Lane just, if Lane ever becomes a GM of a sports team, the coaches need to hide because he wants to fire every coach left, right, and center.
Is that who he's blamed last night for Winnipeg's loss?
I mean, to be honest, some of the play calling wasn't great last night against Calgary. I don't know why they gave up running the ball. And you're kind of seeing why teams don't keep running backs as long as they do. Now, I'm not saying Brady Oliveira can't turn this year around, but he's been average this year, right? He's just been average. It's harder for running backs as they get older to continue to play at that level. And just so I put on the screen, we didn't address it. Mr. Morfor is taking the Saskatchewan Roughriders for the win tonight over the Beat. He also I'm going to say this. He hates the BC Lions. He really does not like the BC Lions.
So what? So let's talk about the running back.
Oh, Dan Gray, he's pulling a Lane Dashko.
They lose back-to-back to Toronto and then Calgary. O'Shea might be out. Maybe.
I don't see them. I think O'Shea I think O'Shea and Ryan Dinwiddie are two coaches that have much longer leashes than other coaches because of the recent success.
Wow.
Wowzers.
So between, I know we talked the pregame yesterday, NFL game, CFL game. Why are we not seeing these running backs in the CFL game rip off, I don't know, 20 yards at least 2 or 3 times in a game? Like these big gains.
Honestly, I think because the CFL they're more focused on loading up the box right now.
Oh, so you're focused on the run game. You're not worried about
on first down. You are, because if you can keep the run game to only 3 yards of play on first down, you have to go away from the run being 3-down football. 3 yards of play is not good enough. You need a minimum 4.5, and even that's pushing it to be able to use the run effectively. That's how Saskatchewan stopped running the ball last week, because, Ouellette couldn't get anything going. I don't know why they won't use Kadeem Carey. Yeah, and I think Dinwiddie, that's the most interesting way I've seen his name spelled. But yes, Dinwiddie. I'm just bugging you, Mr. Moore, for. But yeah, Dinwiddie with 2 Grey Cups in 3 years. And O'Shea, 5 straight Grey Cup appearances. I don't see either of these coaches being fired this season.
But how disappointed are you in Winnipeg to have the Grey Cup there?
Oh, if Winnipeg doesn't make the Grey Cup this year, you're going to look at them not bringing back Kenny Lawler and choosing Dalton Schoen, and you're going to feel like it was a failure. Especially, man, I bet Dan Gray, as a Ticats fan, is absolutely loving what Kenny Lawler is doing.
Running backs are better than QBs in league. Make the QBs best you. Okay.
I do agree with you there, Dan. Like, what he means by that is, if you're basically forcing teams of mediocre quarterbacks, like your Trey Ford, like your tier 3 quarterbacks we talked about yesterday, like your Trey Ford. I put Zach Collaros in a tier 3 quarterback this season, by the way, Chazzy, in case you missed it.
No, you mentioned that earlier in the season, yeah.
But I mean, and Dan thinks I'm crazy until I bring up the efficiency numbers. The numbers don't lie. When teams have a really strong running back, they want to use their running game to open the passing game up. If you can stop the running back and force teams to pass, yes, Dan, Zach, not Zach. Zach Collaros is a tier 3 quarterback right now in this league. But who are you taking tonight, Chazzy, though? And this one, I put these quarterbacks, by the way, as B tier quarterbacks at the 7-week point.
I think the Riders are going to bounce back here. I anticipate them to bounce back. Or good QBs or mediocre receiving cores.
But then look at just to kind of counteract what Dan Gray's saying here. Look at Calgary. I wouldn't say they have the best receiving core, but Vernon Adams is making them look like superstars. Saskatchewan by 7. So close game we're calling.
Okay, so over the last couple of years, Argos, what were they known for? Is it because you keep saying Chad Kelly? Was he the difference maker in these championship seasons, or is it your running team?
The funny thing is, Chad Kelly has not won a Grey Cup as a starter yet. What everyone got to know Chad Kelly by was when McLeod Biffle-Thompson breaks his thumb in the Grey Cup and he can't hold on to a football. Chad Kelly comes in with the Toronto Argos down by 10 in the second half, and they find a way to win. Then the next year, Chad Kelly goes 16-2. But in the playoffs, plays his worst football game in his professional career. His words, not mine. His words, but they're also true. Last year, their identity was the running game with Kadeem Carey and Dan Boy and McCon. Now Boye and Carey are gone. McConn's been injured. Kelly's been injured. Nick Arbuckle's been in. And so it's been a very different identity.
Got it.
Saying 59 combined points tonight in this one. Wow, high score.
I expect that too. I'm with Mr. Gray there.
I am not. I predicted low scoring to start, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to send you a rivalry here on that one then.
Dan is sticking with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but he's saying by 10.
I'll go over 2.
And yet, Dan Gray, you are right. What happened off the field has also been issues, but I'll be honest, I feel we've beat that horse until it's dry. I'm going to say the same thing about Sean Lemon at this point, too. Once he starts playing, I'm not going to be, he did what he did both of them. They both faced their suspensions. They're both back in the league.
It'd be interesting to see what Mr. Gray's response is to that Sean Lennon coming back in. Is he a yay or a nay?
And Dan, you are right. Kelly has done a lot of great charity work since then, trying to, I don't want to just say improving his image. Like, I do think Kelly is overall a decent guy who has made some mistakes in his life. Right. So, but I am curious though too, Chazzy, about what I'm seeing a lot of mixed people about Sean Lemon coming back into the Canadian Football League, right? Some people think it's great. Some people think it sucks. So I know, Chazzy, you're of the opinion that it's bad for the league. I'll be honest, I'm of that opinion, but he's in the league. It's done. I think now there's no point going on and on about it anymore. He's here. He's going to play. Well,
how many more years does he have? Like, how old is he?
He's 36. So that's why I don't understand letting him back in either, because it's causing all this controversy, and the guy's probably retiring in a year or two.
This might be 18 months? And now he's coming back in. Is he game form? Is he game shape?
Oh, now he's got 2 weeks in game shape.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I agree, but that be a lot of reasons. Non-CFL fans know him. Back to everyone who time deserves the same chance.
Yeah, I mean, that is, and that's the thing. If you what's done is done, and if you served your punishment and the league lets you back in, I mean, Sean Lemon and Chad Kelly both have the no second chance policy in their reinstatement. So, for example, let's say Sean Lemon is caught doing anything again. Bye-bye. Same with Chad.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think this is going to be a great game tonight, though, between two really good teams. I believe the game is kickoffs just about pretty much underway right now.
Who's the analysts have tonight?
I have Saskatchewan tonight. I think Saskatchewan will find a way to win this game. And, it kind of put to bed the roughness from the last game that they had against Calgary. And interesting, Dan, with your point here, I saw this a lot about Kelly versus Lemon. Mind you, they're two completely different situations. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think that is one of the big reasons why, yes, Dan and Lemon is back. Dan Gray is saying Lemon is back, but he's saying, he's basically saying the league couldn't let Kelly in and then not let Lemon back in. Yeah. And I can see that personally, right? Like, I mean, I think they could have because it was a new commissioner, but at the end of the day, like I said, the decisions are made, and I don't really see the point until if or when they make another screw up, then we talk about it again.
Whose final call is that? Is that the commissioner's?
It's commissioner and kind of like his board of directors. They'll make those decisions moving forward, and they'll talk to the player as well and see what the players are feeling. But anyways, I think it's time we sign off for the night so we can get ready. We can get watching this game. I will be back for a post-game show. Maybe Chazzy will, maybe Chazzy won't. I haven't talked to him yet. That's just how I roll on the island. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching the first ever episode with just myself and Chazzy. First ever episode of this show with just me for a little bit. It was all a party. So thanks very much for watching, everyone. We'll be back for a post game, or at least I will.